Okay.
Boop. Here we go. I pressed live. We're live and we're having zero technical issues, I think.
So far.
So Mark has a very specific beer he's drinking. I'm just drinking Spaten from Germany.
Yes, this is a taco truck lager from Dust Bowl Brewing Company, which, yes, it's something Edwin has his fingers into. He's one of those, here in the U.S., like foreigners come over here and they realize what the people who've been here a couple generations don't realize, and this is the land of opportunity. And you can really kick ass and just, you can have businesses from, breweries to hotels to hair salons. It helps to be I'm not even going to say it.
Yeah.
Not the hair salon.
Yeah, we have a local brewery where I live in just a local area, a neighborhood basically, and we might open a bar in the building. I'm chairman of the housing committee or whatever we're gonna call it. So we'll see if that happens. It's a long way off still, but we might have an actual brewery at the street level where you can go in and just the tap is directed to where they're brewing beers basically. So we'll see if that happens. We have the space for it, but yeah.
Cool. All right, ready. Skull. First one.
Well, I'm on my third, so I cheated.
Cheater. Yeah, it's easier for you. I mean, I'm starting drinking here at 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I started a little bit after that, after office hours at least. Yeah, so I have some good news from regarding Swedish gun laws. So we haven't been allowed to hunt with AR-15s and stuff like that in Sweden. We had actual FUD fashion laws in Sweden. A hunting rifle had to look like something from World War I or whatever.
Right.
Those rules are gone, and if you remove those rules, semi-autos were allowed for hunting, but they had to look like a car K98K or whatever. But since they removed the fashion laws, an AR-10 should be fine for hunting, right? But you never know when the police are anti-gun. But I have confirmation that the first licenses for AR-10s for hunting has been approved in Sweden now. So go out and buy that shit. I will. I haven't decided. I want a 308 AR-10 for hunting, but I'm not sure which one I'll get. I have the Heinel and 6.5 Creedmoor, and I love it. But yeah,
that's weird though, because I thought, from what we hear over here, the AR-10, AR-15, that's just for shooting, schools full of kids. They're not for hunting. That's weird.
Well, isn't it one of the most popular rifles in the U.S. ever?
Don't worry about that. That's just because we have so many maniacs, right? That's one thing I always bring up. I've probably said it here several times. If you really look at the Second Amendment, if you really look what the intent of the Second Amendment is, and then you look what all these anti-gun people say, they're always like, "Well, that's not a hunting gun. That's a weapon of war." And the Second Amendment is about arming a militia to overthrow your own government. And what do you want to use for that? A weapon of war.
Yeah.
Of course, the AR-15 isn't fully a weapon of war. It's not full auto, but
it's just perspective. I when someone wants to discuss this with me, I tell them that any firearm is lethal. It requires an idiot for it to be dangerous. So those fashion rules on hunting rifles, they're from World War One. That's weapons of war, but they're old weapons of war. They're ineffective weapons of war, which means they're ineffective hunting rifles as well, right? So it's just
hunting something with 4 legs instead of 2.
Yeah,
but all that stuff is stupid. I bring up the point also that my kids grew up around machine guns. They've been around machine guns since birth, and they'll walk across a room full of machine guns on the floor to go get a toy. Because they don't give a crap about the guns. And so far they've never killed anybody. Knock on wood. Never even shot anybody. Wow, how does that happen? Because the way it's portrayed, you have these guns around. Oh my God, they take you over and they possess you and make you want to become a maniac.
So that's funny because the Swedish police actually believes that. So do you know a 3-year-old has something called magical thinking, and that's the way people thought in the Dark Ages, basically. So magical thinking. So a popular thing in old time in Sweden was that to get a rifle to be really accurate, one of those first types of rifles, muzzle loaders or whatever. So they put like coffins from nails into the smelter when they made the barrel, stuff like that, like basic, actual magical thinking. And to get it accurate, you have to shoot through the keyhole of a church door, shit like that. And if you bury it under a bridge where the water flows north towards hell was north, I don't know why, then it gets more definite. And depth was an actual property a firearm could have. If it's been to war, it had more depth in it. And then obviously it killed the moose better or whatever. So shit like that is what Swedish police actually thinks, because it's impossible to deactivate a firearm in Sweden. If it's ever been a functioning firearm, then it cannot be deactivated. So because it has the magical property of death in it. Same as like a machine gun. You cannot make a machine gun semi-auto, no matter how you neuter it, no matter what you do to it, because it has the magical death property of full auto or whatever. So you can take whatever piece of metal and make it full auto if you put enough effort into it, I guess. But it's more or less practical, right? So you have to draw a line somewhere. You can make your own full auto zip gun or whatever, like some kind of blowback bullshit.
Hey, well, speaking of full auto, I want to share that picture with you of those really crunched up shells. I didn't include this in my video. I did a video on turning my lathe into a machine gun. And actually, it's still out there. I think it's actually my most popular video now, and I think the main reason is because the thumbnail, it has a cylinder, steel cylinder with a whole bunch of 22 rounds in it. It just catches your eye. It's like, what the heck's that? Because it looks like a revolver cylinder with, I don't know, 12 or 16 rounds in it. But anyway, the interesting thing was, did that work?
You're not sharing any pictures.
God dang it. Okay, hold on. The interesting thing was that it didn't work right. And this is one where I actually talked about some control theory. Now it's working, right?
Here we go.
Okay. So in that video, I had a lot of misfires and I couldn't figure it out. So I kept changing the program so the thing would move faster. I was using a punch. I had a punch chucked up in the turret, and I would have the punch hit farther, harder, whatever, and I couldn't make it work. And if you look at these, I mean, you're squashing the shit out of these rims. I mean, all the way through on some of them, but they weren't going off. And the reason is that primer compound, you can't just squash the crap out of it. You got to hit it hard. You got to hit it fast and hard. And that's something that, I didn't know. And I've been designing guns for, almost 30 years. It's one of those things, if you remember back to chemistry class, I don't know if they touched on it in high school. They might have something called activation energy. You know how it is, like a high explosive requires a detonator to set it off. Explosive, you can beat on it. It's safe. There's no problem. But you have to have a lower explosive to set off a higher explosive.
Isn't it the same with tannerite as well? You have to have a certain kinetic energy to set it off.
And that's it. You need to get it a certain amount of energy, and having a punch go slowly and crunch the shit out of it isn't enough. A little tiny diameter hit going really fast will do it. And so that was kind of interesting when that happened. And also what was interesting in the video was my discovery, or I can't think of the word right now. But the fact that the control theory, the fact that if it was going really fast, it had to slow down a lot to not overshoot. So it actually was hitting the primer slower than if I'd started at a slower speed. So revelation, that's the word I was looking for. The revelation that if I
from God.
If I was going slower, it was more likely to touch it off. So that was interesting, in a nerd kind of way, which of course I am.
Yeah. The most nerdy thing I ever did with a 22 long rifle, did I ever tell you this? I took empty 22 long rifle casings and made them into jackets for cost 2 to 3 bullets. So I could I have a little tool for it, so I can vary how it basically. So I swaged the lead core, and then I pressed the jacket over it, and I could choose how much So the bottom of the 22 long rifle case was the bottom of the bullet, and the top was so I can make a tiny little hole for like a tiny hollow point, or I can open it up for a bigger hollow point,
Right.
or just so I could adjust them and then I could just squeeze them out. The ultimate prepper thing to make super awkward 223 bullets.
Yeah, and you know what's also awkward and weird is some of those preppers have actually gone and they've got a kit to reload 22s. Talk about nutty.
I've seen some videos about that before.
Hey, I'm on your live stream now.
Yes, you are. So yeah, are you checking chat or?
I mean, I went to the YouTube. I'm not just looking at my screen. I'm looking at YouTube now, so I can see the comments and stuff.
Yeah,
which I don't know if Edwin's commented yet. I told him to come over here and comment.
I don't see him. I noticed my friend Mr. Viking got his first suppressor.
oh man, I've been playing with a suppressor in the shop lately. Have you heard of Echo Machine? Have we talked about him before?
No, I don't think so. Or you did, and my memory is shit.
Yeah, well, same here. It's a guy out of Colorado, and he's the one that, the video is not up on YouTube anymore. It was the Walmart parking lot in Colorado, like gun reveal. Like this guy, I was out there on a ski trip, so I met up with him, and he brought some of his crazy homemade guns along. The guy makes beautiful stuff. I mean, he's just like a master machinist. He's actually a car mechanic for years, and he finally went into the gun thing full time, and now he does suppressors, rebuilds suppressors, makes his own suppressors, and he's just amazing at it. He's like a savant. And he made me I made a silencer where I registered the tube and made some parts, but he went and made all the baffles and everything and transferred it back to me. And holy crap, that thing, it's unbelievably quiet. Like, I've started out in the business making integrally suppressed Ruger Mark II pistols, and those are, of course, they're quiet because you've got ported barrels, so you knock the velocity down, and it's got a lot of volume. But this thing, man, is a muzzle can. I've never heard a muzzle can this quiet. It's unbelievable. So I was playing with that the other day in the shop. And,
do you really need to integrally suppress the 22? Why not just fire C-size standards or something that's below the...
Yeah, you could do that too, but it's just this way, no matter what ammo you got lying around, it'll knock the super high velocity down to subsonic, and of course the subsonics are probably more subsonic. I don't know.
Yeah, I've tried firing subsonics out of an MP5 SD once. I cannot recommend it. The MP5 SD is meant to fire like NATO ball ammo or something, and nothing else basically.
Yeah, it's been a while since I shot one of those. But anyway, so I actually took the thing apart and I drew up the baffles, and we're going to come out with a suppressor again. It's been 20 something years since we had one in production, but it's just people want them, people like them, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I took that crazy there's another video that's not on YouTube anymore, the Q22 SMG. It's that crazy stupid, I showed it to you yesterday. You pull the bolt back and just let it go, and it just goes, it dumps the whole mag in less than a third of a second. So it's 2,300 rounds a minute. It's
Mark, talking about suppressors, do you remember I showed you my little tribute to your Super Shorty I made with a Remington 870? But mine has a stock, obviously, because we don't have SBR laws. Okay. And that Danish suppressor on it. Remember? Make a shotgun suppressor integrated into a Super Shorty. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I know, because the gun's this long and the suppressor's this long.
Yeah. And then just fire slugs out of it. There's probably some kind of subsonic slugs or whatever. But with that short barrel, it would probably be easy to make it subsonic anyway.
Oh, I was going to talk about something Super Shorty related, but I don't want to. It's like that other taboo subject,
Yeah, then you're going to end up having to make a bunch of them.
A certain pop singer that we don't talk about.
Yeah, talking about your guns. Let me show you some pictures of you sent me earlier. There we go.
Oh yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, so this might finally happen. The paperwork is slowly getting done. So this is the RN50, right? But not caliber 50.
Yes.
So yeah,
RN
the barrel is a little bit too skinny for that.
Yeah, it looks cool though. It's and that was one that it's a 6.5 by 55 Swede, of course, and that's barrel. I guess I was just looking on Gunbroker and I found some company that makes nice gun barrels and sent it out, and the thing's beautiful. And the cool thing is with the RN50, all I did was I made some bushings, and I made them for different barrels because a lot of barrels have like a 1-inch OD. Some of them are 1 1/8, some are 1 1/4, whatever. The native diameter for the 50 cals are 1 5/8. So, 1.625. I don't know that in millimeters. I could whip out my calculator, but I'm not going to.
Freedom
anyway,
units.
It's it's the bushing. You thread the bushing and thread the barrel in, and you have a jam nut, so that sets the cartridge stick out. So the beauty of it is any barrel you want, and I've done an FN57, I've done it in 223, I've done it in 338 Lapua Magnum, done it in 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 Swede,
P90 caliber,
39, and 308. So tons of them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of neat. So this one in particular, it's heading your way as soon as that paperwork clears, and that'll be exciting because we've never exported to Sweden before.
Yeah, it's going to be hilarious. I'm going to put my Schmidt & Bender PM2 on it, and then it's going to be super super high height of a bore for that. So that's gonna look silly. But what's going to look really silly is me trying to build up a cheek weld using like old socks or something.
Yeah, don't wash them first.
No, I'm not promising anything.
So I think I remember you telling me that in Sweden, it doesn't really matter about the caliber so much. It's like once the gun's there, it's a gun. So is that true? Can you change calibers once it's there?
Yes, I can, but I would need if I need another barrel for it, I would need another license for it, but it shouldn't be an issue to get that.
Okay, cool. So you could make it a 338 Lapua if you wanted.
Yeah, I would need a barrel for it, obviously. But I could talk to our friends Leo and Anton at Action Reaction Sports, and they could do it for me, obviously. So I'm selling my 338 Lapua Magnum rifle now, so I can get that AR-10 for hunting. I'll have to do some voodoo magic in Sweden to get the license for this, but I can obviously borrow it from Leo and Anton for as long as I want to, until I officially own it as well. So I own too many guns. You can only own X amount of guns in Sweden, so unfortunately
too many guns. Really? They have a hard number, or is it based on who you are?
No, it's so you can own guns for 3 different reasons. It's hunting, sport shooting, and collecting. So for hunting, you can own 6 rifles. For sport shooting, you can own like 10 handguns, 8 rifles.
I'm glad they don't do that to me.
Yeah, and for collecting, you can own whatever and how much ever you want. But it's limited by, so if you want to own for collecting, you have to define what you're collecting, and in that definition is how many guns you want to own. Yeah, I want to collect guns. That's not going to work. So at the moment, I'm collecting bolt action rifles from World War II. So I have a bunch of like K98K. I have a PU sniper. Obviously, you're going to have a Mosin, and a bunch of British rifles. There's a bunch of rifles I should get as well. And then we can only store X amount of guns. So be aware of storage laws, because that's one way they limit how much you can own. So.
Okay, beer number 1 is down.
Yeah, I have a bigger one than you.
Okay, and Edwin has not said anything yet, even though I'm giving him free advertising. Now,
okay, I'm gonna have a look at chat while you're picking up more beer.
I kind of wanted to. I've got another one of his, and it's not the lager; it's a lime flavor, and I hate it.
Yeah, that's popular in Scotland, by the way. I think it's called a shandy or something. So a bunch of people are telling us Skål.
Yeah, Skål. So I've got a Heineken. Now this is a bigger one. It's a 16 ounce. Yeah, you were talking earlier about drinking a lot of Heineken in Egypt, and talking about the pain in the ass it is of getting beer in a Muslim country. And man, we gotta really be thankful that we're allowed to have mind altering substances, even though this isn't not exactly mind altering, but messes you up. I don't know how you would run a business or do a lot of difficult soul crushing tasks without the ability to get drunk afterwards. Because man, almost every flight that I fly, there's something about flying that just, it's not soul crushing. I mean, it's exhilarating. It's like, wow, look around, but there's so much you have to do, and there's so many possibilities to die and just make mistakes in general.
And just getting on the airplane, all the routines and queuing and all that shit. I'm gonna go.
Piloting.
You're flying your own plane.
Yeah,
but I'm going up north to Kiruna in Sweden, and I'm gonna hunt. So I'm gonna bring my guns.
Well, why? I mean, you never see anything. Why are you gonna bring a gun?
Yeah,
just kidding.
Don't remind me.
I'm watching your moose videos. Like, okay, day 2, no moose.
Yep, that's my life. Yeah, well, we get a lot of moose. It's just that the way we hunt, we have a map, and then we put up a bunch of people just sitting around eating sandwiches, and then so the wind blows in our face basically, so our scent won't trigger the moose or whatever. And then behind the wind, a guy goes with the dogs, and then try to push the moose towards the shooters. What's that? Bud Light. Oh dear.
Yeah, somebody said no Bud Light, Mark. Yeah, this is from I don't know, a year ago. I got I saved the empties because I fill them with water and shoot them.
Yeah, but you should have gotten the LGBTQ plus Bud Lights if you're gonna shoot them. That's probably a hate crime, so don't do that.
Now Edwin is commenting. Of course, he has to say something nasty. God damn it.
Yeah. So anyway, what I was trying to say about our hunting is that the guy walking with the dogs find the moose, and then they start barking at the moose. The moose defense mechanism is just to stand there and look at the dog, which means that the guy following the dogs goes up and just poof, shoot it. So what I'm mainly doing with the moose while hunting is going to the moose, cutting it open, remove the intestines, and then taking it out of the forest, which is like a all-day project. Skinning it. It's like 500 kilos of meat, at least. No, it's more. It's like a humongous horse. It's like 4 people at least, the weight of it, or 2 Americans or something.
2 fat Americans like me, right, Edwin?
Yeah. Anyway, so it's mainly taking care of the meat and having a coffee in the forest. That's what I do while hunting. It was many years ago. I shot a moose last time.
What did you shoot it with a 6.5 Swede?
Yes, I did.
Cool. Yeah, it's weird how that was my favorite caliber back in 84, 85. Wow. My first real caliber after M1 carbine, which kind of isn't a real caliber,
Yeah, it's actually quite popular here. I know a bunch of people who have those.
Imagine that, 6.5 Swede being popular in Sweden.
No, I meant M1 carbine.
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, I still like those. In fact, I just got I got an IBM. That's the thing about them too. Since they made them during the war, you've got IBM, you got National Postal Meter, Winchester. I've got a Rockola, which is the rarest one. That's pretty neat. The old jukebox company. Yeah, and that's a neat thing. It's a neat little gun. It's very lightweight, handy, and yet it's got history and it's collectible. So yeah,
it's not much recoil in it either. If you get the magazines to work and you get it cycling, okay, that's quite fun.
I've got a full auto one also. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So Eric is wondering how I prepare my moose meat. So it depends on which part of the moose, obviously. But a regular steak, I just I put it in a bunch of butter in a frying pan, and then just sear the surface of it in the frying pan. Then I put it in aluminum foil, basically stick a thermometer in it, and then I get it up to 70 degrees Celsius inside of it, and then it's basically done. Then I make some sauce out of the shit in the frying pan, pour it over it basically, and then just slice it up in thin slices, and then it's perfect. That's the way I do a steak anyway.
I would use my pellet smoker and smoke the thing.
Yeah, well, that'll work.
Hey, one thing on our last live stream, I think it was actually when I was over there, I started talking about 30 super carry, and then we moved on and I never talked about it. And somebody's like, yeah, tell us about 30 super carry. So I'm going to get back to it now. And all it is I was designing a carry gun a while back, and I was like, the gun I carry now, wait, I was going to whip it out, but I can't whip out a gun here. So I'm not going to.
Yeah, YouTube will hate you for it.
I know. So the gun I carry is a SIG P365, the little thing that it's got 10 rounds of 9 in it. And then that thing's heavy. When you're used to having a gun in your pocket all the time, I used to carry little tiny Kel-Tec P32, and that thing's like feather light. And then I was carrying a Diamondback DB9, the DB380 first, then a DB9. And those are all nice and small and compact. But then I get this thing with 10 rounds of 9, and it's a little bigger, and it's like, God, it's a lot. So I'm thinking, okay, so I don't need a 9mm. It'd be nice to have a freaking 10mm, but I'm not going for one-shot knockdowns. I've so far I've never needed a gun in my whole life to defend myself or to protect myself or someone else. But in general, a gun, period, is all you need. So I was thinking, all right, well, how about a 32? Because that's a reasonable size, but it's a little weak. So I was looking around for 32 Magnum, and the only thing I found was 32 H&R Magnum, which is a big rimmed revolver round, and that was no good. So I was like, I don't know. I just kind of got dissuaded from even thinking about it. But then all of a sudden, many months later, I see a random video and they're testing this 30 super carry. I'd never heard of it. I look into it, and it's exactly what I've been looking for. It's like a longer, and this one actually, they got rid of the 32 ACP is actually slightly rimmed. This is no rim. It's a normal semi-auto cartridge, and the ballistics are similar to a 9mm, but the diameter is small enough where you can fit like 12 rounds in the same size of 10 rounds of 9 and the same mass, even a little less. So that's perfect. If you had a 10 round 30 super carry, that to me, that would be a great little carry gun. It's significantly higher pressure, which is how you get the ballistics up where 9mm is.
Still going to be shot placement.
Shot placement. And again, I think in most situations, just having a gun, period, is all you need.
If you look at the statistics of defensive gun use in the U.S., basically 99% of all cases, they draw the gun and the perpetrator just runs away.
Yeah, they're not going to go,
you just brandish your finger guns, and then everyone runs away. Yeah. But still, if you need to use it, it's still just shot placement. So I guess if you have to use it, live in a bad neighborhood or whatever, just practice.
In general, you whip out a gun, the bad guy's going to run. The only one exception I saw to that, and this wasn't a bad guy thing. It was a really stupid thing up in Pennsylvania. And let me know in the comments if you've seen this video. It's so stupid. This husband and wife are bitching at their neighbor across the street, and they're just talking all kinds of shit to him, and we're gonna make your life a living hell. They're just ripping on this guy, and they're out shoveling their snow and stuff. So the guy goes in, he comes out a couple minutes later, and he's got a handgun, and he's pointing at him. Oh, you got a gun? They're still standing there giving him shit, and he starts shooting at him, and they're still giving him shit. And then finally, like, the woman gets hit, the guy gets hit. Oh, you shot me. He's like, hey, no shit. He's walking across the street with a gun and he's firing it. Of course he's going to shoot you. So they're down and they're like, oh, God, they're suffering. The guy goes back in the house. Some little kid neighbor runs up and, hey, you okay? And then he runs away because the guy's coming out again. This time he's got a freaking rifle, an AR. So he comes up to the woman and goes, I told you should have shut your fucking mouth. And then goes up to the guy. He kills them both. Then he goes in the house, kills himself. Like, holy shit.
He kills himself? Well,
yeah.
Well.
I mean, who would have guessed that? Jesus.
Save the court system a bunch of time and effort and money, I guess.
Right, but can you imagine though that somebody's coming across the street firing a gun at you, and you're just like, oh, you got a gun. Normally,
was it worth it? Was it worth it to do that shit and then kill yourself? That's fucking retarded. That's what it is.
Yep, that's pretty stupid, but they're not going to make that mistake again.
No, he finished it.
But anyway, so back to my original thing. Yeah, the 30 Super Carry. I hope that thing takes off, and I really want to get a gun made in that caliber. And I kind of like it for a carbine caliber too. It's just a neat little round, and it's got good performance. It's a lot higher pressure, which is how they get the ballistics. The 9mm is about 35,000 psi, and the 30 Super Carry is a 51,000 psi. That's significant.
It's rifle territory almost.
But that's modern technology, modern materials, modern heat treating, all that. It's no problem. It wasn't like back in the turn of the century, the last century, where you had to worry about that stuff. But pretty exciting. Wait, should I look for some more pictures?
Yeah, why not?
What do you want to see?
Well, no porn, please.
I don't have any porn.
I don't believe you.
Or I'm not married anymore. I don't need porn.
That's when you really need it.
I could tell you a story about that, but
let's not. I don't want to know about your Michael Jackson stories.
No. Oh, you said it. You broke the seal on MJ.
Commandant says HK94 cloning 30 Super Carry when?
Oh, see, there you go.
That would be fun. Yeah. I need to shoot my MP5 more.
I should shoot mine. Oh no, I don't need to. Oh, hey, I got one here called Stoner Boner. How does that sound?
Sounds like porn to me.
No, but it's not. That's the
Are you sure? Is it a cool gun? Because that's porn for me.
Well, kind of. Let's see here. See if I can bring it over here. The title of the picture is Stoner Boner.
Is it that fancy stoner you fixed up?
No, it's these guys came over one day, some of my local buddies here, and like you see the stoner.
That's obviously porn, Mark.
It definitely is porn, yes. But look at these things. Like, look at the one that's closest, the one with no buttstock, at the bottom of the screen. That's a re-weld, and you can see the weld spots.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that looks nasty and rough, but it works. And you look at the one at the top with the sling on it, man, that's cool.
Awesome.
That's a little carbine a guy made up. Yeah, he used to work at Knight's Armament that made those for a while. And,
is anyone making some modern versions of this?
I actually have a receiver that I'm in the process of making. Have been for 3 or 4 years, but
because those holes they make, like vent holes or whatever in the handguards or whatever it is, can't you just make those M-lock anyway?
You do whatever you
want.
Yeah,
and the pistol grip, can't you make it just like AR-15 compatible, so you can use
whatever you want? But
and then just put a Picatinny on the butts instead of the buttstock, and then you can put all those fancy Picatinny attachments for buttstocks. But
one problem with M-lock though, there's a minimum thickness specification, and it's around 85 thousandths, and this sheet metal is 62 thousandths. So the M-lock wouldn't work just as is. You'd have to put some kind of doubler on there for increasing the thickness. Now, do you see in the top of the screen those sexy BFG 50A bolt assemblies?
Those are beefy.
Yeah, very beefy. 4 pounds a piece. Weigh almost as much as an M1 carbine, just the bolt by itself. That's pretty funny, huh? But yeah, the Stoner 63. A lot of people don't even know about those guns, but God, they're so wild.
Yeah, I love the design of that. It's so like utilitarian. The 22 you showed a picture of me the other day. Can you show that picture, by the way?
Which one?
The cool one with the red dot on top.
Oh, right. Okay, yes.
Yeah, so it looks like something from some kind of dystopian sci-fi movie. Those stoner rifles, like if the wrong side won the war and they kept their technology going. If you compare it like the stamped STG-44 or something, if you just extrapolate that to our times, something like that. But anyway, the 22 you designed there, the handgun.
Yeah, the GB22.
The GB22. Yeah. That shit looks awesome. It's super thin at the top because it's just you pull back, insert it in a little hole, the cartridge, and there we go.
Yeah, it's funny because that scope is huge, or the red dot sight is huge.
It's
now they got those little mini ones.
Yeah, that
And
looks like something from Star Wars, something a stormtrooper would have as a some kind of backup gun.
yeah, it's a silly gun, but it's really cool for some reason. Everybody, whenever I take it places, everybody loves it. They want to see it. They want to shoot it.
Just
And
you managed to nail the design of that, and I love the A2 flash hider. It gives it the little
yeah,
extra.
yeah, that's just stuck on there for the hell of it. But the cool thing is, if you can see the little cross hole just behind the muzzle, that's
Yeah.
actually a retaining pin for the spring-loaded plunger that is a ratchet for the suppressor that's made to go with this, and which is why I'm getting back into the suppressor thing. It's because this will have its own suppressor that you screw on there, and it ratchets down kind of like a Sten barrel does, and it just goes.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I can't
so
wait to see what you do with it. Try to
Yeah.
make the design flow with the rest of the gun a little bit,
Yeah.
so
But
it
of
kind
course.
of fits. Yeah. Maestro will make it happen.
Yeah, but in fact, I just before I left to come home here to do this, I sent a non-disclosure agreement to a local guy who's going to be making me the final, hopefully the final parts to do the first trials of the production version of this gun. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and it's kind of a dumb gun for us to make because it's really hard to make money on it. It has to sell for a pretty low amount, but it's not that cheap to make. So
Can't you just make it a build your own kit for people with
Yeah.
like 3D printers and stuff?
yeah, we could, but the only thing you could 3D print is the grip, and not that many people really truly want to build their own gun. There's a much
Okay.
bigger market of people that just want to
I
get it out
thought
of the
it was
box.
a large market for stuff like that. The 80% people.
Yeah,
and
I
all
mean, yes, it's large, but compared to people who just want to buy it and go shoot it, it's not that big.
that. Okay.
Is Edwin still commenting on there, by the way? Saying any smart ass crap I need to
His
be up
last
on?
comment was LOL, so I don't know.
That's because we were texting the other day, and he called me some sort of homosexual slur, if I may, and so I like sent one back. Then he sent me another, so I sent like a whole string of them, just just everyone I could think of. So he's just regurgitating one of those, but he got it wrong because he's foreign.
He's thinking about a good comeback. Edwin, the
Foreign.
comeback isn't good if it takes several days to show up.
Oh, he says, "Yeah, he is here." Yeah. Yeah, we're actually supposed to go out and do another video, Edwin and Richard and myself, out in the desert next month. Of course.
Don't blow yourself up.
Try not to. I mean,
It's not
and
it's not worth the likes.
it's not worth the likes. That's Edwin. I try to be safe when I'm out there. Yeah, right.
Wear your safety
You know,
goggles.
I
Oh,
caught so much crap when I was shooting at those guys with the M60, and then I stopped firing, and I just like put the gun on safe and said, "All right, gun's clear." And they're like, the other people are like, "That gun was not clear. That's not safe." Like, yeah, you know what? It's okay.
so normal
And
citizen wants to know if there's any Swedish gun news. I have one I forgot to tell you
Nobody got
about
shot.
earlier. So in Sweden, handguns, you have to renew your license every 5 years. And at the moment, our politicians are having one of those investigations in how to change the gun laws. But it's only
Yeah.
how to make it better, which is
Oh,
good for
sure.
us, I guess. So anyway,
Better.
that will be finished on the 24th of May next year, in 2024. And then we'll see what they say. And then we're going to have an opportunity to comment on that. So we'll see what fresh pile of bullshit they'll give us. But the meat and potatoes of that investigation is how can we make life better for gun owners in Sweden? And one of the things is remove the 5-year licensing. So we'll see. It probably won't have time to change the law in 1st of July next year. So it's probably going to be 1st of January 2025. So yeah, that's the latest I have. That's from 2 days ago from one of the parliamentarians in the Swedish parliament.
Yeah. So when they say it's going to be better for the Swedish gun owners, does that mean worse? Like it means over
No,
here?
it actually means better. So, for example, we can own more guns. So,
Wow.
you know that those numbers of amount of guns we could own, that will increase. For example, I think we will go from like 6 to 10 or something hunting rifles, shit like that. So I could buy a bunch of more ARs. I
I mean, that's nice, but like Here, six to 10. That's how many guns you're supposed to have in your car.
Yeah, I know, it's stupid.
In my office, remember I told you in my office I have 40 guns, and that's not including what's in the safe.
Yeah, I don't actually remember how many guns I have, but it's about 40 or something.
You're not supposed to know how many guns you have. They should have so
Yeah,
many.
but I have a shit memory. I always have to check my spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet. Wow.
Yeah, don't you have a spreadsheet, Mark? An Excel sheet?
For the company, yeah, but no, I'm getting a little worried because I'm getting near the end of the Heineken, and the next beer is that goddamn shitty lime beer that the taco truck.
It's behind you, mocking you. You have to drink it to punish it.
Taco truck, but the lime one that I hate. So I'm not looking forward to that. Oh, I don't. There's not a lot of beer that I hate, but I kind of do hate that lime beer. Look at this. Look at that. Oh, well, I'm looking at I just threw the beer can. Now it's just appearing on YouTube. I actually threw it like 10 seconds ago. There's a delay.
There is a delay, and that's for quality purposes. If I have it like 1-to-1 speed, the quality goes down. So
I gotcha. So it gets to stream and build up the data.
And I can.
I just had an idea.
Okay.
I'll mix that shitty lime beer with Heineken, so it'll only be. Well, then I'll ruin both beers. Well,
that's one way to do it, I guess.
This one's already ruined. Maybe I'll just say no. I don't know. I could switch to Foster's, but that's a big one. Then I'll get really drunk. So.
Edwin is saying that the yellow can is regular, not lime.
Duh, really? Thanks, Edwin. Freaking genius. I hate Edwin. Don't you hate Edwin?
Oh, I love it. I love Edwin.
Leave me a comment if you hate Edwin.
I love Edwin. He blows shit up. He's my spirit animal.
Yeah, we only love him because we hope he's going to get blown up. Yes, this is the one I don't want to drink. Yes, Edwin, I know the difference between the green one and the yellow one.
Well, Shad is supporting your decision to ruin 2 beers.
He says it's horrible. That's why he sent it to me, or else he would have drank it. Yeah. God. It's just wrong. It's like, don't do it. But you know what? Yeah, I love Bud Light Orange, or I loved Bud Light Orange, and so that's good. But this, I don't know, it's just something wrong about this.
I like to check beers, especially the pilsners. Those are nice.
Yeah. Oh my God!
I wanted to visit the town of Pils, but I never got around. I didn't have the time to it when I did my little tour around Germany and Switzerland and Austria.
I didn't know there was a town.
Yeah. So they had a little beer
learning
schism.
about beer knowledge.
So they learned how to brew beer in a more efficient manner, basically, and the end product was